Hey. What up, people? Can you hear me? Check it out. Okay, alright, sounds like we've got some stuff going on. Whenever you're ready, Juan.
John, make sure that you want to do a quick check that when you swap from video to photos doesn't cut out the audio.
Yeah,
Or we reckon that's good.
yeah. Well, I can do a quick check right now as we're speaking. Add source. Can you hear me now? Now. Watching the. Still not showing up on here, even though it's popping up. Oh wait. There we go. Very good call, man. Very good call. And I'll switch back to this one. Well, yeah, looking good over here as well. Alright, I'll post the MF, yes. Hey, thanks Liam. In the chat, let me post this to the Hosky chat. Oops. Dun. So I want to show you actually some things, Juan.
Yeah.
So let me go to here. We'll get the Hosky chat, get rid of that. So there's a couple of wheelings and dealings going on in the Hosky world. So I don't know if you've heard of this dude, Dimulix. You wouldn't have heard of him. Dimulix, but yeah. He's the guy who's saying he'll be the first one to get a Hosky tattoo on his leg.
Yeah.
And all he is asking in return is 469 billion. By the 11th, 2022. And you get a tattoo on the back of his leg.
That's very cool.
What he was saying. There's all these sneaky things going on as well. Busy Hosky wants a shout out. Yeah, you can get a shout out, mate. Of course you can.
Busy Hosky.
And they've done this thing now where there's like this thing called the shitty NFT. And basically that'll double the amount of rewards for your NFTs that you hold in your thing.
Always innovating.
Yeah. Oh man, they've got so much stuff going on. Unfortunately, the Hosky Olympics got cancelled, but
did it?
Yeah, but I'm not sure what the deal with that was. But lots of cool things. Everyone who's joining, I'm actually wearing the Hosky shirt that Juan managed to get while he was in the US of A. Very cool. Thank you, Mr. Senor Hosky. Sent that through. We organised that through him. I tried to give him a mere mortal shirt that Juan's actually wearing right now, but he was afraid of getting doxxed. So makes sense, but very disappointing that the original OG Hosky does not
have one. I mean, if he ever wants one, you can reach out, of course.
Or yeah, for sure. What else was I going to say? There was something other Hosky related. Oh yeah, so I'm going to do a live Hosky
post.
So you've got a 1 in 200 chance of getting the shitty NFT. So
1 in 200.
Basically, to get it, you need to buy 10 NFTs.
Yeah.
So 69 ADA. So it's not an insignificant amount.
It's not insignificant, no.
But if you're a degenerate, it's well worth it.
It's a low cost for it all.
I'm gonna attempt my luck here live.
What, you're gonna buy one right now, live?
Yep. Well, I'm gonna buy 10 of them right now. Live.
Ooh.
And we'll see.
Okay.
They take depends how long. Sometimes it'll take less than a minute to come through, and then other times it can be a little bit longer. So
okay.
I'll just have to make sure I
This
check.
is a true DJ moment right here. This is getting a prep for Veecon.
Hosky. What was the reactions while you were walking around Veecon with your Hosky shirt?
There wasn't too many reactions.
Okay.
There wasn't too many reactions. I did get a couple of looks.
Just for the off-center.
No, not the front, but the back. So people that can't see the back,
I'll turn around.
or whatever. I will describe it for people. At the back it says "Rug Me Daddy" with a QR code that says "Do not scan." Do not scan. So,
you know, when I have first heard about the QR code on the back, I was actually like, "Oh, that could be a little bit, not sure about like if I would be willing to wear a shirt which just had a random QR code, which I assume goes to the Hosky website. I
didn't even try. I was thinking to myself,
let's not do it. Let's just one. So we're basically gonna share the shirt between the two of us. But it'll probably be most of me wearing it.
Look, it'll just be one of those like
and
of where it goes.
Someday someone will do it in front of us and we're like, oh, that's where it goes. But
I've got a couple of stories about that as well.
I was gonna say, yeah, we're just wearing a QR code, but the fact it says don't scan me, I was like, they're fucking genius, man. The Hosky, they're just very smart people. Very smart people in the Hosky. For dogs, I mean, it's pretty crazy. So we got Dimmer, busy. So shout out to Dimmerlex, and also Daniel McRaith. Yeah, Hosky, you.
Beautiful.
Thank you fellas. And so this is Dimmerlex's. He's only got 5 billion of the requested 469 million so far. So
469 billion.
469 billion.
Yeah.
Yes. So
okay.
yeah. So we're all gonna have to work hard if we want to see a Hosky tattoo on Dimmerlex.
Yeah, okay. 469 billion. That's quite a bit. Well, there's people out there with trillions, isn't it?
There are people out there with trillions, but 469 billion in ADA terms as well is not nothing. I think a billion's about 20-something ADA. So that's getting into the thousands of ADA.
That's quite a bit.
If it actually happens. Alright, I'm just about to send through my transaction. Let's see if I can get me some Hosky shitty NFTs, and it's bang on 6 as well. So, do you want to kick this one off?
Oh yeah. I reckon I'll be doing most of the talking here, but feel free to jump in.
For sure. Or should I kick it off if you're doing most of the talking?
No, okay, you can kick it off.
Okay, sounds good. All right, here we go. Let me go over here. Let me go back into our original screen for the start. So here we go, everyone. We're going live.
We all can be mortals, capable of mistakes. The journey's not here to be agonized upon.
Oh yeah, welcome everyone to a musing session of the mere mortals. We've got Kyron on this side.
Juan, back from the USA.
Juan back from the US, jet lags, which is why we're starting this a little bit earlier. A musing session is where we do a themed episode. Today is Veecon trip. So Juan's going to give us the juicy goss of what happened at Minneapolis in 2022 for Veecon. Probably, I don't think there's anything else to kick off with really.
No.
I wanted to just ask you to briefly explain what is Veecon and why you went.
And the way I'm going to try and describe this completely, as well as I did spend a few days in LA before going over to Minneapolis for Veecon.
So the whole trip.
So it'll be a little bit of LA, and then a lot more in Veecon. I'll try and focus on the experiences and then some of the learnings a little bit afterwards as well. And then we'll split that up with any Boostagrams that come through as well. But for people who don't know, so Veecon is the conference that Gary Vee set up as part of ownership of any VeeFriends and having a Veecon ticket in essence. All around marketing, NFTs, Web3, cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Not as much cryptocurrency.
Okay.
More NFTs, more blockchain conversations, more marketing.
Because I was wondering what the mix would be, because I hadn't really particularly looked at. I honestly thought it was probably more an influencer thing than anything else.
Look, to be honest, it was more NFTs, like predominantly NFTs. So there was a lot of the larger NFT players. So for people who might be knowledgeable in the space, things like World of Women, WAW, Crypto Gorillas, and a few others. But there's like lots and lots of NFTs, right? So NFT players, a few obviously influencers, Logan Paul and the like, Evil Longoria.
Steve Aoki.
Aoki.
Beeple, you said, was there?
Beeple was there as well. So I'm not just sharing the screen at the moment for people.
Yeah.
Through, so that's just currently flicking through a couple of the people who were sort of coming to the event. Anyway, so that was Veecon. It was a 3-day event. I was there 1 day extra either side of it, and also in LA a couple of days before. So what I thought I'd share was at least some of the interesting things that I encountered in my travels to, I guess, US as a whole, how my trip went, and then maybe some pinpoints around Veecon. So I'm going to start off with LA. So I flew in to the US and I suck at sleeping on planes, completely and utterly. So I was running on 30 something odd hours of no sleep by the time I actually got to the hotel in LA. Now a couple of things to kick us right off, right? So for people who don't know, when you land in LA, right?
Yeah.
You can't get a taxi or an Uber or anything
Yeah, we heard about
as you get this, which is just a load of crap. But what you actually have to do after talking to a few people is you actually have to go off to a separate shuttle, and that shuttle takes you to another complete different area for you to be able to get the Uber or the taxi.
Oh, sure.
This is not at all lined properly, like helpfully pointed out. No, this is like as hard as it possibly can come, even though it's English speaking. And what I ended up having to do was I was like, no, I walked the entirety of the international airport the whole way around. I couldn't find this place. Because it did say like, oh, if you're in this terminal, you get to take a shuttle. However, if you're in this terminal, you could walk. So I was like, okay, I'm going to walk to that terminal.
It's probably like a walk through the wastelands. You know, you're walking on the side where planes are taking off, and you're.
Dude, I'm not surprised. I'm surprised. I don't know where it was. Anyways, what they end up doing is like, oh no, but you can get an Uber to pick you up if you do Uber Black. So I was like, look, I don't care. I'm tired as I'm getting Uber Black.
Yeah.
Now it cost 150 Australian dollars to get to like the airport. It was 30 minutes, right? 30 minutes, like crazy. Now I was super tired when I got to the hotel. It was 8ish a.m. and I could drop off my bag, but obviously I couldn't go into my room because my room was at 3 p.m. Now, I tried to essentially just like meander around the lobby, some of the pool area. They weren't letting me in the pool because I wasn't technically staying there, which is annoying. So I found like a random chair off to the side and kind of slept there for an hour, but then just walked up and down basically Hollywood Boulevard. So here's my first story for everyone.
Okay.
From LA. I've got what do I got here, Karen? You can pick this up. You can take a bit of an investigation.
One's passing some CDs across to me. So we have, I assume what are mixtapes. This one looks like it says Corinthians, D Platinum, Capture Your Vision, Love in My Territory, Don't Hate the Game, featuring Lil Kelly, which is surprising because I associate Corinthians with religious stuff.
Yeah.
And it's got a guy in front of a Mercedes with a goldish jacket on.
Yeah.
Got King Jean, Love, Pain, LA, Thank You, something respect.
Yeah.
King Bullion, Insta, at Insta, just a CD, and then another of the Corinthian dude, Everything New.
So, and this was just, so at this point, picture me, I'm 30 whatever plus hours, no sleep, and I'm walking around with a bag, and this particular individual right here, old mate, well, I don't actually know what his name is.
I can't see
Power, whatever.
On a power, yeah.
Whatever his name is. He came up to me and he said, like, oh man.
You look like you need a mixtape.
He was like, oh, how you do, where you coming from? I started talking to him. I thought this was the fourth person I talked to as I landed in LA.
Yeah.
And I was like, he seems pretty cool. And he started talking about like music and that he does music. And I went, oh, okay, I get what this is. Like, he's trying to sell me a CD or something to give him money. And I went, you know what? He does seem like a pretty cool dude. He rapped a few lines for in front of me.
Nice.
And I was actually quite good, like 10 seconds with it. And I was like, you know what? Yes, I will. I'll give me a mixtape. I'll give you some money. Like, that was pretty cool. That's fine. It'll be like a little story.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, his mate comes around. So I've got my first CD, and then his mate comes around. He's like, oh, you Australian dude. Like, oh, yeah. Look, I'm trying to get my mixtape out there. You know, can you support me? At this point, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. I've been snooping in here.
Yeah.
And then his third friend comes out. And at this point, his third friend plus a whole group of them come out. I'm like, I don't know where they were. It's about 10 in the morning, and I'm like, oh no, what have I done? So I kind of limited it to 3 because the others were coming out of the woodwork. But these 3, they cost $60 something in total, US.
Yeah.
Plus, then they were like, and you have to give the discount, the percentage tip for Cancer Association or something like that. Please put that in. And I went, oh man, whatever. Anyways, it ended up being about $100 Australian worth.
Damn.
Which I was like, whatever, okay, cool, it's been done. They hustled me, but I've got a little bit of a story. But I actually recalled that they put the card in the machine, and then it was under $100, but they were like, oh, can you also sign on it? And it didn't look like a normal signature, and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough, I wasn't really thinking, I'm super tired. Now, after that, I walk away and go to McDonald's. And I just do a little bit of a Google around, like, oh, okay, this is pretty usual, this happens. They're like, yeah, this happens all the time. They're like, just as long as you don't give them a signature, we should be all good. And I was like, oh man, what have I done? So now, luckily, they didn't go and reuse it later. They were true to the word that they only spent my well-earned money on just some CDs. Okay. But I locked my credit card for a couple of hours. Just just in case, I'm locking it. Just in case I try to do anything shady straight away. But luckily, nothing else came about it. But now I've got some matte mixtapes. So if anyone of the Mere Mortalites out there wants some matte mixtapes.
Well, you got to play them yourself first, man.
I do. I don't know how I'm going to play them.
I know.
I don't know anything for a CD player. So that's also a thing. I was like,
looking at my laptop. No.
Old cars.
Oh yeah, my car.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to throw some of these onto the whole mixtape and see what sort of music plays out. Nice. So a couple of other things just from LA, like in general, the US.
So you arrived on a Friday, right? No, Saturday. You're Saturday.
Saturday. Arrived on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Expensive as hell. Like everything's super expensive. Inflation's obviously like just taking a hold and absolutely ripped everything a new one. Do you want to share the picture of the salmon, please?
I can do that.
So some of the individuals. So I had this. I guess the biggest one that I could point to in terms of the price disparity was, I think it's one of the first ones, the absolute first one.
Was it? No.
No, should be.
Did you send it? That is the first one.
Oh, okay. Maybe you didn't send all of them through. So let me send.
Was it on your Instagram?
No, I don't think so.
You might have sent it to my phone.
Okay, well let's imagine that it's I did send them through, but it probably limited the amount that actually got sent through to you.
Gotcha.
But let's just imagine for everyone at home, it's just a salmon. So I will show.
I'll hold it up to the camera.
So basically, this particular salmon. So the salad itself, folks, was $16 US, and I was like, okay, that's all I want to have with it, which is cool. And then the lady asked me like, oh, do I want some protein along with that as well? Which I was like, sure, okay, cool. Give me some salmon. That ended up being $47. So. The annoying thing about the US, if you haven't been there before, more lights up for Veecon, it's that there's the, like, whatever it says that the price is, plus the sales tax.
I don't like that shit.
Plus the tip, and dude, like like I really disliked it. I just really disliked it.
Agreed.
It wasn't for me. Everything opened up super late. So I'm gonna slowly move from LA to Minneapolis, but LA, everything basically opened like 8 or 9 a.m. onwards. Minneapolis. Dude, you're lucky if things are open at 10 a.m. I was like, where am I going to eat some food here? But I guess sometimes in Minneapolis, like, sun will come up at about 8 a.m., it'll go down at 10 p.m. So I can kind of get why it's a little bit shifted towards that sort of perspective. But I found the price of most things. So coffee was roughly about like $10. I'm talking Australian dollars here. It's like $10 Australian. Most food places, like you were looking at $30 plus easily, no matter what you were eating. Like McDonald's was like $25 for like a meal. I was like, man, this is extortion.
Yeah. Now the burning question on my brain was, did you see any doo-doo? I've heard so much about the Los Angeles human feces.
No, I didn't. So I didn't see any human doo-doo, which was like happy. I was happy I didn't see that. I did see like random things, so you can probably share it on that camera as well, but it was basically like I just saw a bicycle frame. I just saw a bicycle frame like laying on the street. No wheels, no nothing, just kind of chilling out on its own. So stuff like that I would see around. If you're walking around, so one day I decided to go and walk to the top of the observatory, the Cripps Observatory, and I left half an hour after sunrise. Now, I wouldn't recommend to anybody to walk around Hollywood or any of those areas, because at that point there was some real shady stuff that I could see. Like I'd be walking around, there'd be people still sort of sleeping in the tents, starting to come out and be like, why is there another person walking around doesn't look too familiar. That was pretty touch and go type of deal. It was I don't know, in my gut it sort of felt like I wanted to put my headphones on and listen to a podcast on my walk, because this was a like 2-hour walk one way, 4-hour walk the other, and I was like, I'm not putting on headphones at all. I'm gonna be like completely like in tune here with what's going on. So it was that sort of feelings, but there wasn't
then a Uber or taxi or some shit.
not mine. But there wasn't anything in particular that I went like, oh man, there's like feces on the ground. At least there wasn't that, which was
okay.
cool.
Well, that's good to hear.
When I obviously walked up to the observatory, which was fun. Walked from, for people who don't know, walked from the observatory all the way to Rodeo Drive. Go to Google Maps and type in Griffith Observatory and do a walking to Rodeo Drive. So I did that walk, and it took me a little while. And when I got to Rodeo Drive, that's where I like parked up, chilled out for a little while, got a coffee, and just basically watched the world go by. But if you put the distance here I'm walking, it will give you a little bit of idea for the
Okay, so I'm guessing this is the observatory here in the big green area?
Yep, that would be right.
So I'm trying to go from
from Griffith Observatory to Rodeo Drive. And for people who don't know what Rodeo Drive is, it's essentially like the super luxe, super touristy area of LA where people will go to. Some people will go there to buy things. I did see people buying stuff, but predominantly it was just like tourists walking around, taking a bit of a look, really. So that walk there was...
Okay, so just in car it's 28 minutes.
Okay, so if you swap it to, I think it's at the very top, people.
Oh yeah, there we go. Here we go. 2 hours 56 minutes.
Yeah. And I actually went like a scenic route down to Melrose Avenue and walked all of Melrose Avenue. So I did a lot of steps that day. So I was great that day. And the next couple of days I just chilled out by the pool. So anyways, LA was pretty cool. I liked it.
And you were at the
Hollywood Roosevelt.
Yeah. And so is that a famous hotel of some sort?
It is it's the place where Marilyn Monroe stayed. Quite a few times. There was a few other people famous who stayed there. They did the very first Oscars there, I'm pretty sure.
It's like the Walk of Fame, right? The stars.
The Hollywood Walk of Fame is like right in front of it. Yeah. And it was one of like the first hotels that was ever there. So I guess that's what sort of makes it famous. But look, LA was just pretty much me able to chill out before, I guess, the all-consuming the madness, which was Veecon.
So you arrived on a Saturday and then you flew.
Stuck around till
the Wednesday, right?
Wednesday. Yeah. Flew in on Wednesday to Minneapolis.
Gotcha. Yeah. So Minneapolis, what was? Well, first of all, we've talked a bit about your sort of traveling alone for the first time. So that was a couple of episodes ago. But did you have a plan of attack for the actual 3-day conference? Did you think, I'm gonna go hard on Friday and Saturday and kind of chill out on Sunday? Did you have any thoughts on, you knew your rough schedule of what would be on and what you would want to go to? Did you have any thinkings being like, this day I might have a little bit of time to chill out here, and this day would be super hard? Or
so I knew that the first day was going to be like the first day, and there's going to be so there's the pre-day and then the first day.
Okay. And
I thought that the first day was going to be the hardest. I thought the first day was going to be the absolutely all-consuming.
So that would be the Friday.
Yeah. So that was going to be there's going to be no holds barred. Let's just see how many things I can do, all the events, all the activities. As you will find out, I shot myself in the foot well too early, but it was for a good reason, I guess. I could call it that. But
okay. All right. We're jumping ahead. So the Wednesday, you arrived on the Wednesday.
Yeah. So I arrived on the Wednesday. Now, from a temperature perspective, I'd come from LA where it was 32, 30 degrees, maybe a little bit cooler as it went out. It's like 24 degrees. To Minneapolis, Minnesota, where it was 24 degrees when I arrived on Wednesday, but quickly went down to 12 degrees, 10 degrees, 2 degrees as it went up. So it changes very, very quickly. But one thing I can say from arriving in Minneapolis, on the way over from LA to Minneapolis, I saw Al and his partner. So we haven't really mentioned Aldridge in the podcast before, but just a guy who also is in the NFT space here in Brisbane where we live. So it was cool to see him. And basically from that conversation, I started going like, how are we going to approach Veecon? And a lot of the conversation was, it seemed like from what Al was saying, like, oh, one, you're going to be like just up front talking to absolutely everybody. And I thought, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing for sure. I'm going to be like really connecting and interacting with people. So you've got up at the moment that's Alder's YouTube video. So go give him some love as well if you could. But anyway, so making that way to Minneapolis. This particular day, it was Wednesday, just from my face, it was Wednesday. I, for some reason, was really jet lagged that day, so I got up at 1 a.m., couldn't sleep, read a book for a long time. We landed in Minneapolis at roughly midday. We ended up going out for some lunch with the Aussie VeeFriends crew, which was really, really cool, and stuck around until I had to go check in my hotel at 3 p.m. and basically just explore the city, went to see a few things. Wasn't much going on, so like for me, I was like, okay, that's cool. I need to like sleep, get some good rest for the next day, which I thought Thursday was going to be a cool day. It was going to be meeting a lot of people, but it would still be reserved in readiness for Friday and the first day. Now, I guess to give you my idea, my thesis, I was planning that pre-day of Veecon was going to be meeting people, getting to know the lay of the land. Thursday was going to be huge amount of activities and events. Day 2 was recovery/events, and day 3 would have been like chilling out, looking to do what I'm going to do in that day. That was kind of, and then the next day, just whatever I wanted exploring. Now the start of Thursday. So I woke up and I went, okay, time to start exploring, talking to people. Now something interesting happened to me as I began. And you were asking me this off air as we were starting, of like, okay, you were explaining a situation where you saw people going to meet each other and nobody was talking, right? Now this was the opposite, where I had an impression where a lot of these VeeFriends folks, because again, these Veecon, you have to have Veecon ticket, and normally most of the people got Veecon tickets from having an original VeeFriend or something like it. I thought they would be a little bit reserved. They weren't going to be clumped as much. I walked straight to the stadium early in the morning, and there was a group of 50 people there, like just all gathering around, all having big chats. And I don't know, I'd love to ask this question to maybe some of the other Australian VeeFriends, other people, but I don't know what it was for me, but there was an overwhelming amount of American people who were there, first of all.
Makes sense.
Like there's a lot of Americans, they follow Gary Vee. I would say that it would have been like 20% like foreigners, 80% Americans, right? And there were just so many Americans talking about American-y things that I actually didn't feel super comfortable talking all that well, or like really getting the networking going. So I would go over and I'd chat to people and shake hands. Hey, this is your name. Veecon had a way to essentially scan the app and be able to add people, which was kind of cool. But it all felt slightly superficial / a lot of things that they're connecting with might be baseball or the NBA or NFL or something else. But I'm like, I can't really connect. I don't really know how to connect here. They might, obviously the conversation will come up of what VeeFriends have you got, whatever it may be. But it wasn't like a conversation that I really wanted to keep going a lot of the time. It felt very superficial.
One's finally knowing what it feels like to be me.
Yeah, so
here in Australia, a sport-loving nation where I don't give a shit about cricket or rugby or AFL.
So there was a lot of that. Where I kind of felt a little bit pulled back. But here's where some of the stories I've been getting. So that particular night, so this is the afternoon of the Thursday, there was the big event of Veecon, which was the 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Commons, which was just a grassy area off to the side. They were going to essentially present to everybody. So Gary's going to be there, a lot of people are going to be there, everyone can chat. Now before that though, 12 to 5 p.m, there was the basketball tournament.
Yeah.
Which was super cool. So I went down.
I've been practicing for this.
Went down there was so many people at the basketball tournament that they'd already filled up all the spots and I couldn't play.
Oh.
So I was like, oh man. However, this man did a shout out to Ethan, who brought a frisbee with him, and I was like, dude, that's such a smart idea. And he went out and bought it just purely for like that particular event, because next to the basketball courts there was a huge like full field soccer pitch, and the people who couldn't go and play basketball, essentially some of them went to go play frisbee, and I was like, okay, I know what frisbee's like. This is pretty fun when we do it. So I just went out there and just had like a mad time with playing frisbee for easily an hour and a bit.
Did you play an actual game of that frisbee?
Ultimate frisbee. So I
Okay.
think we were thinking about it. We didn't. So it was fine. I was doing some good catches, some jumps, some speed jumps. So there was some good stuff going on.
Using those basketball.
But then we saw what was the
skills.
horizon. And so this comes to Minneapolis for people who haven't been there. Minneapolis weather's a little bit crazy. So it was super sunny. I was warm. I was sweating. Then I see in the horizon, like, basically it's bright blue sky, but I can see in the horizon like a little bit of a cloud. And I go, oh, okay, and it's roughly about 3 o'clock then. And I go, okay, I'm probably gonna go back now, get myself have a shower before I go to these events that can start at 5. And luckily I did, because as I'm walking home, it starts getting darker and darker, and basically I'm just around from not my hotel, but a building just before, and I go, oh, I can feel like a little bit of rain, so I started walking a little bit inside, and all of a sudden it just starts cascading hail, like hard. I go,
So there wasn't even like a rain.
there wasn't like, I don't know, here in Australia we'd be under the impression of it starts raining and then it starts hailing a little bit and then it starts harder.
I can't remember ever having hail without there being significant rain.
Yeah, this was the equivalent of, it was rain, like I felt rain on my finger, and then the very next second, a hail hitting my other hand. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, it would be, like, you'd be just standing there and you would see, like, hail coming on one side and 100 meters forward, nothing. Like, just completely, like, a flat line.
Yeah.
So I, like, made absolutely dash to a hotel, chilled out there for a little while it passed over, and it passed in minutes, dude. Like, in minutes. And then it was completely sunny again, which I thought, okay, this is pretty wild. But then, so then it comes to the Thursday actually event at 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. There was 2 events that I had at that time. I had the Commons, a proper V Friends Hello, which was 5 to 10 p.m. And then I had the Impact Theory, the Tom Billiou one, which is 5 p.m. to 8 p.m.
Gotcha.
And I decided, I made a call, I went, okay, I'm going to go to the 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Impact Theory one, just because it's a little bit more intimate. I should be able to meet Tom Billiou, which I did. And fast forwarding, I didn't meet Tom. And I just think like after that finishes, I'll maybe come out of it a little bit early, and I'll go back to the other one.
Yeah.
Now here's one piece that you probably would have hated if I'd taken you to VCon. V-Friends like introduction the day before VCon begins.
Yeah.
The line to get in was around an hour to get in.
Duh.
And like looped completely around the whole entire event area and started looping into each other. And I went, oh man, that would have sounded terrible. But what I say, I ended up going to the Impact Theory event. Yes, I met Tom Billiou. Tom talked about the new upcoming stuff in the sort of NFT space for him, sort of things. One thing that I thought would make a good comment from a learnings perspective that he said was 2 things. One, working in the Web3 space and trying to design things and building things, like it's really hard. So he was like talking both like personally in person and to like the broader group, just how hard it really was and to bring people into it.
Yeah. The
need for someone like a Meta, like a Mark Zuckerberg or other, to really build a big platform to be able to do anything with.
For the masses,
like,
yeah.
It's just not, it's not going to be a Tom or a Gary or someone like that to be able to bring into the masses as easily. Like it needs something so gigantic that it brings everyone in. And also he kind of gave a bit of a timeline that he was more anticipating that it'd be about 3 or 4 years before he actually actively saw this come to full fruition in terms of the impact, the adoption and all stuff like that, based on what he was seeing on how hard it is to work in it, to develop in it.
Makes sense.
So I was like, okay, cool. That's good little alpha, little good tips to take away. So I was like, okay, that's cool. Now I'd had quite a bit of drink at the Tom Billiou event. Why? Because it was free drinks. So I was like, okay, good. Free drinks, that's always good.
Can't say no to that.
And no tipping. Like free drinks and no tipping, man, that's up my alley. So I was having a really good time, really good conversations. I met Jim Quick, the author of Limitless, which is really cool.
Saw that photo.
Super shy person. He's a super, super shy person. So I was like, okay, interesting. Yeah. But he was nice to talk to. Now, from there, so fast forwarding, I went back to the Commons. Now, at that point, there was no line. So I just got straight in and I was like, this is really cool. And I started just interacting with people, talking around there. And this is where you can pull up the first photo. Because after this, we were like, okay, what do we do? I've like drank a couple of times now.
I'm like, I'm ready not for a party, but to like keep engaging with people. Now, you've brought up this picture here. Hopefully people can see it. So what does it look like to you?
It looks like an old style building. Maybe, it's got some statues in it, wooden staircases. Maybe it's an art gallery of some sort.
Yeah, okay. So if you go to the next image, what it actually was a castle. So it was a castle / house / mansion. I don't know what it is. And someone earlier on that day basically just said to me, hey, there's this event called the 10K party event. And a few other people heard about it. I looked into it just briefly just to see what it was. However, it was $420.69 tickets to get in. And there was 5 of us that were going there. So we thought, because it was after a 10 p.m. event, we thought, let's just go check it out. Let's just see what happens. So we went to it. And sure enough, we got to the front of the door and they were like, the tickets are $420.69. And I was like,
$420.69.
Yeah.
So it's a meme event of some sort.
It was sort of a meme event prize. It was basically run by quite a few groups, but there was a ton of wealthy people, let's just say, a lot of people who own Bored Apes and a few other things. And we heard that and we went, okay, time to go. Now I can't confirm this. I don't know exactly how it happened, but someone was walking in and basically just said, oh no, they're all with me. And we just all walked straight in and they were like, oh, well, cool, here you go. Now, again, at this point, it was around 11 p.m., right? We got into this castle / mansion thing. It was all you can drink. And it's where I met Beeple, at least for the first time in person. So I did get to take my picture with Beeple, talk with Beeple a couple of times, talk to his brother. And for people who don't know Beeple, Beeple's famous for his everydays, essentially.
Yeah.
And he sold one of the most expensive NFTs, basically like a year or so ago, which was $69 million for his 5,000 everyday NFTs.
Yep.
That's cool, dude.
So I think I've got a photo of him somewhere. Did you post a
Yes,
photo
I
of
did.
him
Yep.
on your...
I'm pretty sure I did.
I
sorry.
won't.
If you
No,
click.
yeah, I was clicking on the wrong thing.
Yep.
So
Yes.
that was him back there.
Yep. So that's people there.
There you go.
So he was just a super cool dude, super down to earth. And I think I'll talk a little bit more about it a little bit later. But yeah, he was just a mad dude. Now, let's think about it through. Castle. We're drinking heavily. I've met people. There's all these people like just drinking. Now, at this particular place, I don't know what was going on with bartenders, but someone suggested like having a shot. And dude, they poured like there was free hand pouring. What would have been like Juan when he was 18 years old. I was like, man, this is insane. So it was like just nuts.
Those big ass Mexican shot glasses, if you've seen them, they're just huge shot glasses.
Huge.
Yeah.
Now from there, so now remember, this is before first day of Veecon. This is a pre-date.
Not even started.
We then
yet.
went to another after party at a place called Glex. And now I need to call out this place specifically called Glex because now Minneapolis is not known to be super busy, right? And they just had this influx of 7,000 people come into the place. And then, like a lot of people were like, what is going on? We went to this bar called Glex and they were so over capacity. They just did not know what to do. They were like people were trying to support them or like help out, but they just really like they were like expecting 10 people on a Thursday and there was 400 in the bar. It was like,
makes sense.
What's going on?
Yeah. So Minneapolis population is 424,000 and you've got 7,000 people. I suppose it's just not doing anything as well. It's not like they're
fair.
They're working in an office or something like that. No, these are just people like roaming the streets.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, just roaming the streets, seeing what's going on. Yeah.
A huge gang essentially.
Yeah. So in any case, after that, so we went to that place and look, we were calling it quits at like 1 a.m. I then decided that the smart idea for me was, I retrospectively look back on this being like, Juan, you're so stupid. But I didn't want to use my mobile data for $5 a day. I wanted to use Wi-Fi. What did that mean? So if I was at a place and I didn't have Wi-Fi, then I'm not calling an Uber. So the next best thing is to run home. That was about a mile away from my hotel, so about 1.6 kilometers. I went, that's cool, that's fine.
Easy.
And I just ran home.
Was that like 2 minutes? 1 minute mile?
I did that at
3 minute mile?
I did that at least 5 times. Like I ran home at least 5 times from like I would have ran 10 kilometers at least, like by the end of Veecon. So I was like, man, what the hell? But That's what happens when you don't have Wi-Fi. That's what happens when you don't
Nice.
have Wi-Fi. I'm just going to put a bit of a pause here.
Yeah,
First, I
sounds
was trying to see
good.
if there's any questions or anything.
No real questions, but let's maybe do some Boostagrams while we're before we get into the meat and juice, I suppose.
Yeah, the meat and juice. Cool.
So I'll let you bring it up. So the last musings that we did was on the Friday the 13th.
Good. Okay, cool. So I'm going to kick it right off with Petar.
Petar.
So Petar for the
Slav.
Boostagram Lounge here. 2,222 sats, quacks, sent using
Quack,
Fountain.
quack.
Random road trip in the middle of nowhere is one of my favorite pastimes, actually. Always something new to see and explore, even in your own backyard.
So that's related to our road trip episode where you were going off into
yes.
the zoo, Darlingdown Zoo.
Yeah, look, I
whatever it
don't know if I would say it's my favorite pastime. I wouldn't go out there and be like, I'm going to just roam the back streets or the middle of nowhere. I think it can be cool, but at least I would like to be pointed towards where I'm going, not just like a random place to explore.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just do not associate with that at all.
However, I do think Peter has it pretty cool because I guess in his area there might be a lot of really cool things to see. Like it would be like, oh, let's just go drive up this mountain and go to like this awesome space, and it's pretty close by.
I've heard just Canada in general is pretty beautiful. I wouldn't call Australia a beautiful place. There's some nice places.
There's some nice places, but well, like when you're inland, like
I've done some very boring drives.
Yeah.
Extremely boring along the Queensland coast.
Imagine not even Queensland coast. Imagine inland Queensland.
Yeah, well, Queensland inland. So I've done all of that. So I've tapped out on that.
You've tapped out on that. Yeah. But no, thank you very much, Peter, for that donation.
Yeah, much appreciated.
We've got another one from Dave Jones. Dave says, if you're going to be in Minneapolis, that's anti-Trump country, so be careful not to get a random left hook.
Shit. Were you wearing any red hats?
And using Castomatic. No, but I was wearing my red beanie. I was wearing my red beanie, and I did not get the random left hook. So
okay, there you go.
Should have taken my MAGA hat.
So those are, and just for everyone listening as well, Dave and Jones, our two top supporters, both got Mere Model shirts.
They did, yes. So what I'm wearing right now for people who can see it in the video.
So we've decided, what did we say, like 100,000 sats?
I don't even know if we decided, but I guess we're going to make it now.
Yeah, 100,000 sats. If you send in that much, we'll
you get a shirt.
We'll send you a shirt.
Yep. Then we get another one from Dave Jones, another 2,112 sats using Castomatic. He says, maybe I'm weird, but he also loves road trip. I love driving a long distance and stopping every so often along the way to explore. Well, there you go. Dave and Peter, you guys I think to fall quite nicely in line.
I can understand. Well, I can understand both of them. Dave's like working on his car. I think maybe that it's more they're car people, and then car people love to use their cars.
True.
Is sort of because I wouldn't say I'm anti nature or anything, but I'm not going to go on a road trip just to see nature. So I think there's something about the actual driving aspect of having a vehicle you've worked on maybe. And
yeah, I guess so. 'Cause I guess I wouldn't know that deeply because I do enjoy cars and driving, but not to that extent. Not to be like multiple hours.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone should pick up that pastime as a hobby because then you can just listen to us all the time.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. Just have some
no
repeat.
excuse not to.
Yeah. Another one from Peter sends 5,000 sats using Fountain. It says, just Tinder up yourself a date if you're feeling lonely, chief. Have a great trip.
Nice.
So I think that was pre-trip episode that we would have talked about.
Yeah,
would have been about solo travel, actually.
So what Juan was referring to when he was saying that I went somewhere where there was people not really speaking much. I scoped out a speed dating here in Brisbane.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I didn't join it, but I went to the place at the time that they were meeting, and I was sort of scoping it out. So if I'm feeling lonely, that's probably the go.
That's probably the thing.
Yeah.
There's a couple here from ourselves testing.
Okay. So here's a fun little fact related to that. When I go to Bitcoin meetups and stuff and talk about podcasting 2.0,
you show them
I
how it
usually
works.
try and do an example, and usually it fails.
Nice.
But this time, both of them worked bang on, almost near instantly. Within 5 seconds of me sending it, I got the Telegram pop up showing
The payment gone through.
Immortals Boostagram Lounge coming through.
Cool.
So it's improving. It's improving.
Nice. I
which is
like.
very, very cool.
And the final one for the Boostagram Lounge, we got quite a few this time, which is nice.
Yeah.
Another 5,000 sats sent using Fountain by Petar. Petar, the man.
Paying for Juan's trip right here. Dang.
Not being able to explain your progression due to obsolescence of old sources of information is one thing, but it's super sketchy if someone simply can't articulate how they came to the current position. Perhaps this person is not quite the OG Bitcoin genius they claim to be.
So this was referring to when I was saying I was trying to get some information of a person who's been in the Bitcoin space for, let's just say, 10 years. And I was trying to get their sources of information. Where do you go to find out about Bitcoin?
Yep.
And I just wasn't getting anything back. It was a very short interaction. So it's not like I pinned him down and he was being sketchy or anything. I think it was just... he didn't particularly want to answer that direct question or that direct question. There's the same guy who, when I repeated my question to the person on the Zoom call, completely butchered what I had asked. So his filtration mechanism might be different from
Perhaps.
what I'm speaking about. But I wouldn't have said he was sketchy. No. But yes, it would have been nice to have known this is how he gets his sources of information.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very good. Thank you very much for the Boostagram.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Always appreciated.
Very much appreciated.
So, okay. So I'm trying to place myself because honestly, these days felt like they were so long, dude. I was just trying to a second day. I was trying to think like, wow, that happened like yesterday, or the day before, was it like a week ago? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But okay, so after that initial day where we weren't supposed to be going out and doing anything or being crazy, of course, I had plenty to drink. I was feeling a little bit worse for wear, but that's okay. And so the next morning came. Now, doors opened at 8 a.m.? 8 a.m.
Yep.
8 a.m. And Gary sent through a message as well the day before being like, make sure you get there early. Get there early. You want to be there early.
Gary says a lot of things.
I went to bed at about 2 a.m. I went to bed at about 2 a.m. So I went, okay, am I going to set my alarm for 5 hours and have a short sleep to get the Veecon when they're saying to get there early? And I was like, no, I'm not. The first conversation starts at 9:30 in the morning. That's the Gary V introduction. I'm like, I'll get there for 9:30. So I'll set my alarm. Now, once again, luckily I didn't, because the very first day of Veecon, there was people lining up before 5 a.m. And so for people
be crazy, man.
To give you an idea, the US Bank Stadium, dude, is bigger than the Gabba, right? Bigger than the Gabba here. It's huge. It's massive. It is huge. The line went around the whole stadium. And people were like, man, it was raining outside. It was like 12 degrees. It was like ridiculous. I was comfortably sleeping in my bed. But people, once they actually opened the doors, it actually went pretty fast. And so basically I just waltzed in, which was quite good. So I was like happy about that. I watched the opening conversations, which was really good with Gary, with the introduction. Obviously it was awesome seeing like all these people there. But by around 11 o'clock, now I often feel this when I go to stadiums or when there's a lot of people. I, one, was feeling like quite ill from the day before. Two, I felt like that pressure to talk to so many people, to be interacting with so many humans, that I was starting to feel like just burnt, I'm wrecked. To give you an idea, I probably met, I reckon 100 people that morning, like easily 100 people. So imagine just like, hey, blah, blah, what's your name? Cool scam. Blah, 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 what's your name? Cool scam. Blah, blah, what's your name? What are you doing? Like all that, listening to people. And I was just like feeling not good. I hadn't eaten breakfast. I hadn't eaten anything. So I was like, okay, I need to like tap out here. And I did have a couple of things I wanted to check around in the middle of the day, which was, and I'll call this out, Jesse Itzler. Do you know Jesse?
Yeah.
So
I know
Jesse,
him.
right?
He's pretty cool. He's a crazy guy.
He's a crazy guy?
Yeah.
100%. I had to go back to the hotel and lay down. I went and lay down for about 2 hours because I was just feeling so unwell. I was just feeling like I had a massive headache, and I was like, no, I can't do this. Now, this was my first regret, I guess, from Veecon. I didn't get to go to see the Jesse Itzler conversation that he put out, because apparently it was like one of the best ones for the entire time that it was there.
Yeah.
So I was like, God damn it. But again, just to give people an idea, the whole of Veecon was conversations on like Jesse Itzler, who I guess is a motivational self-improvement type person mentality sort of aspect, talks.
Entrepreneur type. He's had a bunch of businesses as well.
Yeah, then there's also just people who've owned or started the NFT companies, and then you have people in between who've worked with VFriends and like
Brock Lesnar as well.
Is it?
I think that's Brock
No,
Lesnar.
no, that's not Brock Lesnar.
No?
That's his name is Chuck,
Chuck
Liddell.
Liddell. There you go.
The ass man, Chuck Liddell. So there was a mixture of people. So I went back home, lay down in the hotel, so I'm raked. Came back at around like 2ish, and then I started to feel a little bit more prepped up. I had some food, I was feeling better, and then I started venturing around, seeing everything. So I guess to give you a bit of an idea, there was about 6 levels to all of Veecon.
Okay, in the stadium?
In the stadium, there's about 6 different levels.
Okay. You mean like in the tiers of the stadium?
Yeah,
so it was like
area multi-tier. So it was like the bottom, there was the mezzanine, a level above higher.
Makes sense.
So they'd have multiple rooms, plus there was a space called the rally space where they were doing sales of like rare cards, rare magazines.
Okay. Yeah.
They had like a Lamborghini, like an old Lamborghini Diablo. They had a gaming set up in a different area. They had a drinking space. All was very cool. Fast forward, 5 o'clock comes around. I'm thinking in my mind, so Gary has set himself up from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday, Saturday, and I think it was like 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Sunday. Time for people to go get photos with him, selfies and the like. The line to go see him on the first day was
huge, yeah.
So huge. Now, people were waiting like literal hours, like 4 hours, and still not seeing him type of deal. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to bother the first day. Maybe the second day. Or if not the third day, that's when I'll get the selfie with Gary. Now, at about 5 o'clock, I'm thinking, I'm tapping after the day. I've had a massive day already. I've listened to a lot of things. I've met a lot of people. I think I need some rest here. Like, this is pretty cool, but I need some rest. And I met one of the Aussie guys just like randomly as I'm walking around. And he's like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm probably just going ahead. And he's like, oh, do you want to just come up and check the drink? There was like a free 1 hour drink thing from 5 till 6. I was like, oh. All right, look, I'll come up. We'll go up and see it. We'll see what it is. It was really cool. Like, it was really fun. It was the first time it was sponsored by Captain Morgan. The next night by Johnny Walker, although we couldn't get into Johnny Walker because of all this other debacle, so whatever. But that Friday, we went there, had a drink, and as I had the drink, I was like, ooh, okay, I feel a little bit more energy.
What drink did you have?
It was a Captain Morgan with apple sour or something like that, which is quite nice. It was like a Fireball and Coke, I guess.
Cocktail?
Yeah, it's like a little cocktail. Yeah. So I had that. We went through to another bigger space for some food, chilled out there for a bit, and I thought, okay, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. It's probably closing in on 6 p.m. And I had in my hand now to explain, I haven't explained this fully. Steve Aoki was also their president, as we've already said. And I had 1 general ticket and 1 VIP ticket. So I was like, okay, it starts at 8 p.m.
Yep.
And it was like 6:30 by this point. I went, okay, I can go home, get myself changed. I'll go to the event and experience it. Now, I decided in all of my wisdom to not drink too much this particular night because I was still feeling it. So I had some water, walked over to what's called the Armory. Now, this place was massive. Like I do want to do this like proper check of how many people it actually holds, but I'm going to say like 10,000 people do.
I'll do it.
While I'm talking through. So the Armory is what it's called in Minneapolis. Steve Aoki was playing. There was a couple of people on beforehand. The VIPs, so I went in basically at around 8:30, 9 o'clock, which was just kind of getting started. So Steve Aoki only started playing at about 11:50, I think it was.
Okay.
So I got in there earlier on.
8,400.
8,400. So there you go. So it's huge. And I reckon 5,000 of them were VFriends people.
So it's a club?
A club. So it was a club. Yeah. Imagine that. 8,400 people in a club, dude. It was just insanity. I won't even get into like the debacle of trying to get the VIP ticket because there's 4 different entries and I had to go to all 4 different ones because each one of them didn't know what was going on. So it was only the 4th one that I checked that was like, oh yeah, this is what you do. I was like, oh my God. But I went in. Now, I don't know how well you know this, but the cost of drinks in the USA is quite cheap. Like you buy at Target or you buy them elsewhere. It's relatively the same price as Australia or cheaper, like alcohol.
Yeah.
Apart from when it comes to a bar.
When you're inside places, yeah.
Now, water, $5.
So they don't.
US, $5. So that's $7 for like a little bottle of water. So free water, fuck yeah, die. No, you got to pay your money. If you're running out of money,
So if you're in a bar, you can't just ask for tap
you can't just
water.
for tap water. Nope, you're buying a bottle of water. I bought a drink, a single drink, Red Bull, because I was like, okay, I need a little bit of Red Bull, a little bit of energy. That was $24. $24, dude. I was like, I don't want to. And so that's why in the US, a lot of the times, people will just go and get the table service because you'll pay $800 for 10 people, and it'll work out cheaper because you'll end up going to spend way more than that if you're going to buy more than 4 drinks.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
So the night was super cool. I managed to stay awake until just before 1 a.m. like dancing and jumping around. And then I was like, I need to tap out. I'm going. There was a couple of other people who I was dancing with, and they're like, oh, we're going to stay till later. Which I'm glad I didn't. I'm really glad I didn't, because they got rug pulled. They got, was it that night? Anyways, I'll explain that one. I don't know if it was that particular night, if it was another night, but someone said something along the lines of, Snoop Dogg's actually playing at this other place. Let's go and check him out. It was like a complete, lie, and it was like a random person just singing, and all these people got drawn in and whatnot. So actually, I think it was the next night afterwards. But anyways, went home, slept, and then day 2. So
okay. Joey asks, that does sound exhausting. How many contacts did you think you made over the whole experience? I guess how many number sharings or app things did you?
Not as many as I would have thought, because again, it wasn't like I wasn't being ultra outgoing. Like, so that first day, I was wrecked, man. I didn't want to talk to people. I just wanted to go around and see the things. I wasn't in like a most outgoing behavior, to be honest. So it was kind of like, it was okay. It was just okay. It was just okay. I did make, I'm going to say like 20 contacts from like a Twitter / the scanning perspective, but I would have talked to hundreds of people during that time. So
a question I had was, because all of this was going on, and you somewhat said, you're having the same conversation. Hi, blah blah blah. Who are you? Etc. etc. Did you think of trying to just come up with one-liners that are wacky or crazy and to make an impression?
No, not at all. Not at all, really. I thought it was actually more, and so I explained this one in day 2. So day 2, I was, luckily enough, had more energy, so I got up quite early. I was able to go there and like see most of the things I really wanted to do. Went and tried out this like awesome pizza place. It was an Argentinian restaurant that did pizzas, and it was so good.
Argentinian pizzas are pretty good.
Man, amazing. So that was awesome. But a couple of the highlights there was, like say, I stayed around for, I didn't mention this from day 1, but so day 1 and day 2 in the afternoons, there was basically a concert after the main, like, talking and everything of the conference, which was quite cool. But on the second day, that wasn't too much of a standout, I guess, for the things I was listening to. But I ended up sticking around to listen to, I went back to the hotel and came back to Miguel. So Miguel was there singing, pretty cool. But there were some conversations I was having. So here's an example of one where, because it was people who maybe are aligned to the same values or some of the same ideas, you can get deep really quickly. So there's this dude who was just sitting and listening to the music. And I could tell he was enjoying it. But he was wearing a hat and had a Swaggy Sea Lion hat. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Now, I saw a couple of people with them. I think they were being given away. I didn't really get to the bottom of it. But I talked to him for, let's just say, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. I made him cry.
Whoa.
I made him cry from emotional things. So I was like talking to him.
One's just...
yeah, just going, I don't know.
Where'd you get that hat, bitch?
I made him cry in the sense of like, just talking about, there's like what I've been doing, why the reason I got into VFriends is the ideas behind it. I got him to start like sharing, things behind it as well. And he was like starting to get emotional. And I was like, oh, whoa, that was really cool. So there was a few of those conversations I did make with people where I was like, oh, wow, that was really cool. That was really deep and empowering and fun. One little tidbit actually going back to the day before the first day, so the pre-day of VCon, when I was with Tom Bellew, he was just randomly walking around in the group, and I was with a group of 5 people, and he just kind of like turned around and started talking to us and was like, oh, hello everybody. Now, not that they were like shocked, but everyone was very, very paused, like, I don't know what to say. And I guess I would say the normal ability of like podcasting and asking questions to a person just kind of started taking over, and I was like, bang, 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 bang. almost like if I was doing a podcast type of deal. And afterwards, when they kind of left, they were like, "Oh, holy shit! Like, I really enjoyed how you like were able to like ask those questions." And I was like paralyzed; I couldn't say anything and stuff like that. And I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll do a podcast and whatnot."
Yeah,
so that was a really cool way of like sharing the podcast as well. So
podcast comes in handy. Joey asked, or was sort of saying, too much quantity, possibly very little quality in the networking, maybe. How much?
way too. Yeah, 100%, Joe. There was way too much quantity, not enough quality. Absolutely. Like one of the things that Gary was saying was when he went to South by Southwest in 2007. He went to the event and he didn't listen to any people talk. He just was more like networking and talking to other people. Where I felt there was just such a quantity of people at this particular event. It was like extremely hard to be able to find the quality conversations, I guess. And it was very not cliquey, but there was just a lot of already people in big groups and they just stick around with each other. And it was like in a similar way where you're like having to approach a group of girls. It's like, okay, it's a harder thing to do. Now, it would have been easy, I guess. But I also found myself gravitated to a group that I ended up making, which was like a group of 4 people who were like core Australian guys and girls. And I just like hang around them. So
makes sense.
I also didn't feel like I needed to go elsewhere type of deal.
There's no point making best friends for life and then being like, oh, I'm going back to Australia, never seeing you again.
Yeah, exactly.
Brody also asked, how were the first edition cards?
Oh, yeah. So I
Brody's
did share this for
Pokemon.
Brody. So there was people buying Pokemon cards over there, buying first edition boxes. There was
You sent through something related to a Charizard or something, didn't you?
Yeah.
Maybe that was on your stories.
It would have been on one of my stories. But yeah, there was people selling Charizards. There was like the ones behind like glass type of deal being shown. So there was just a ton of... Basically, there was a big space of like 14 tables where people were selling and trying to do like on selling of rare things or rare magazines and the like, it was really cool. Obviously not super up my alley, but there was people there like all the time,
Yeah.
which was like a really cool thing.
Here's a little Instagram thing. Someone was saying, our team burned thousands of calories this weekend searching for a few key cards. So there was a team of people just searching for cards.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was cool. So that sort of bargaining / finding out those things was a cool thing. But so again, in day 2, I talked to a few more people. I saw people talk at the conference. I went out for food and whatnot. But again, I didn't decide to go on the line from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. to see Gary. I was like, nope, that's not for me. That's cool. That's fine. We ended up doing, I can't even remember what we did that night, but it was just a more relaxed night. And then there was the third day. So the third day wrap up, it sort of began quite late.
So nothing too crazy on that Saturday?
No, I'm just trying to recall exactly. Actually, no. I've completely and utterly lied to you. Yes, there was.
He blacked it out.
Oh, yeah, probably. No, that particular night. Yes, was it that night? Yeah, it's very good. So that particular night is when we went to what was a World of Women event. So a WoW event. And I didn't even have a ticket, but I just became a +1 for somebody that I'd actually met.
Yep.
So I went into the +1. Again, I sillily, it was a silly mistake here of mine. I decided to have a couple of drinks on my own beforehand, being like, I'll go and buy a couple of drinks, just make it easy, chill out. I had to do a couple of things before I flew over to Australia. And then I went over. Of course, it was all you can drink. So I was like, of course. Now, and then I'm just seeing so many people in that event and also running home later. So which I was super annoyed. Well, not super annoyed then, but super annoyed the next day. I ended up getting probably back to my place at about 4 a.m.
Yeah,
that second day. So these are like humongous days.
Big days.
That's why I'm like I can't picture it being like 2 days. I'm like, no, that's just so many things going on. What else from that particular one? Met what's his name? Beeple again. But he wasn't being let in. So he wasn't being let in by security. Security were like, oh, you don't have a ticket for it. And he's like,
I'm Beeple.
I get it, I'm Beeple. And they were like, I don't know. So he was going to walk away. And I was like trying to drag people in, being like, get this man in. Just get this man in.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of that. There was also the day after. So I couldn't really recall this, but this is classic Juan. People were like, yeah, like, dude, every time I'd almost run out of a drink, you'd already have one ready for me in my hand. This is Juan 101, 100%.
Yeah, that's where
being
Juan
generous
thrives.
and supportive. Anyway, so the final day, I woke up like super late, but also didn't start until quite late, the conference as well. And it was more of a wrap up, just chilling out, catching up with people. And then some of the Aussie guys wanted to do some stuff in the afternoon. I ended up going to the bar there were, but just to give you another example of why there would have been so overwhelmed there in Minneapolis was this particular bar was closing. It said that it closed at 6 p.m.
Yep.
The Aussie guys went and met up at about 4 p.m. I could only make it about 5 p.m. But I went there at 5 p.m. and they'd already closed the bar. They were inside, but I was like, I was asking one of the people who work there, like, why can't I go in close until 6 p.m.? They're like, we've had all these influx of people. We don't have enough workers. We're just trying to we're just trying to close down. So I was like, oh man. So there was a little bit of annoyance because there was so many people who'd come into it from a prep perspective. But whatever. And then the final day, I basically just slept in like hardcore, like slept in so much before like the massive trip back home. So, and then look, there was like 1,000 many things in amongst all this, obviously, like meeting random people, listening to Mila Kunis on the big screen, stuff like that. Like there was people like that. I was like, oh, this was really cool to listen to. Snoop Dogg and his son was super cool to listen to. I thought they were like really awesome.
Is that Champ?
Champ Medici. Guy Osieri, who done like a lot of big things in music and also partnered with Yuga Labs to do like Bored Apes and a few other things. So there was just awesome people all around. But I'm scratching the surface and trying to be like, this is kind of like my experience through it and all the events.
Liam asks, was it actually worth going outside of the experience? Did Gary Vee actually say anything new, or was it more of a muchness to what they say online?
No. So from a Gary perspective, there was nothing really new. If you follow Gary Vee for a long time, there was nothing new that you heard from him. And then like the finale is I didn't get a picture with him. So I saw him close up at one particular point, and I did have the chance to take a selfie with him. But he looked so wrecked after like, what must have been 10 hours, 12 hours of taking selfies with people that I was like, look, I don't even feel like I want to like force you to come and have this selfie or whatever. Because it doesn't really matter. I'm not really there for the selfie. I'm there for like the experience of it. So I just didn't push it, nor did I want to line up for 3 hours, 4 hours. I was like, that's not a story I want to tell. Like, I don't want to be like, I lined up for 4 hours and I didn't get to see Gary. Like, no, that's not so cool. But Gary specifically, it was the same Gary sort of stuff. But I did think that it was worth it for meeting a lot of the people. It was definitely worth it for listening to a lot of the people who were there. There was a couple like Guy Siri, Snoop, who was it else? There's a couple of Dapper Danny guys. Betty from Deadfellas. There's a few people like that, which was like, oh, that was really cool. And they didn't record these sessions, like they're not shared anywhere. So unless you were there, like you don't really know. Maybe you'll find clips or something like that, but you don't get the full thing of it. So that was pretty cool. Finding out about Andy Kranak, who's the VeeFriends president, the way that he originally started with Gary was he basically sent them a tweet in 2013 being like, hey, can I come and work for free for a little while? And from there became the president of VeeFriends like now. So it was kind of cool, like cool stories like that, which was quite nice to hear. And you won't really find the full detail elsewhere. But definitely like the main thing about Veecon was all the side events, like, being able to meet Tom Billiou, Beeple, and all these random other people.
Did you go on the Ferris wheel?
I didn't go on the Ferris wheel. Not many people did. I think I even think Gary might have commented being like, oh, like the Ferris wheel, whatever. And he's like, I'm not going on it though.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, fair. But yeah, not many people use the Ferris wheel, but there was a Ferris wheel inside the stadium as well.
Yeah. Another question, would you go back for 2023?
Not
necessarily, it's not going to be in the same place. But
not necessarily, no. He has toyed around with the idea of maybe doing it a basketball stadium rather than a massive stadium.
If it's 80% US, it's going to be in the US, right? Like
I reckon so. Like I couldn't really see him doing, maybe Europe perhaps, but I couldn't see him like really going away. Sure, why not? I could see myself going. There was enough people who I met. There was enough events and activities that I went, this is worth doing again.
Yeah, gotcha.
But unsure, I would be interested to see what happens next year if I go again and if it's much the same, then I'd be like, oh, okay, maybe I need like a particular intent to be going. Like maybe I've got to be showing something on. I need to be getting conversations out of this that are like, okay, that's going to lead me to help out in X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. Because I mean, like you said, there was all these little mini conferencing things, mini networks forming off of it. So you'd maybe have to prioritize them instead of the general
exactly
broad
yeah,
events.
yeah.
Or things
And look,
like
and
that.
again, like I'm talking through a couple of things and the events that I went to. There was so many events and so many activities that like matched up all at the same time that you couldn't go to all. Like you couldn't listen to all of them. You couldn't see all the people. Like it was just impossible. I saw people getting like the signatures on the jackets of people like Logan Paul, Deepak, Gary, Beeple, all these other people, and that alone would have taken so many hours to do. Like that would have taken so many hours. So, you know, are you going to Veecon to do just that and a few other things, or do you spend it in like in all the activities or all the side stuff? Do you just go for like dinners and try to meet up with people? Like, I guess it's like one of those paths. Like, which one do you take, and what's the experience you get out of it?
Yeah, for sure. I got to say, just that does not sound fun to me.
Yeah, it was a lot. Like, it was a lot, dude. I felt like it was too, like, almost too much. And again, going back to Joey's point, it did feel a little bit like too much quantity over quality. Like, almost if I'd be like, okay, how about just have like a specific line of the speakers and activities to do? Maybe that would have been better associated for me. I did enjoy the amount of choices, but there was for sure a lot of times like choice paralysis in the sense of there was like 7 events all at the same time, and then this activity, and then this is going on, and then someone's messaging being you like, we're having lunch here. Someone else like, oh, let's have a coffee here. And you're like, I might as well just do nothing because there's just so many things going on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, just on my point, you know, it would be too much. It would being in a big crowded stadium like that for hours on end, where you sort of you kind of have to stay. It's not like it's easy because it just takes so much time, I guess, going out of the stadium.
Oh yeah.
If you're like, oh, I just want to rest for a bit in my hotel room or something. Like if you leave, you're probably not coming back. Sort of thing.
Like it does take a while. Like, and again, because it was so big, and it's been like noted by Gary and a few others. It's the fact of if you're inside, like to get a coffee was like it took you an hour. To get food it took you an hour. To do anything take you like ages because there was just so many people to so many things.
And so there was just the 10,000 tickets, I suppose, from the V Friends. Probably less people came.
They said roughly like 7,000 people were there.
Okay, gotcha.
Which still is a lot. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. Especially when you've got, like I said, there's a lot of cross events. But when there's like, I don't know, 4 talks or 5 talks, it's like, okay, like you're gonna have limited amount of things to be able to do. Like they had side little things, like a baseball simulator, pitching simulator, cornhole games, checkers, other things. But they were always full. Like it was always packed. Like there was not a time when it wasn't absolutely chock-a-block. So to go down and participate in something, you were having to like prepare to go and connect with 50 people. And to be honest, at some point I was just like, oh, this is getting too much for me. Like I just need, I'd prefer to just sit on the stands with a few people and just chill out here than go down into the mass and have to like deal with that repeatedly.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so just to finish it up, we've got a couple of comments here. One, you mentioned previously about the price of things. Do you think we're about to see some crazy increases in staples like fuel, etc., food? What was the most expensive NFT you saw from memory as well? We might leave that first one because that's a macroeconomic
Yeah,
question.
well, I saw someone buy a Bored Ape in person, 190 ETH. I saw someone at the mansion buy a Bored Ape in front of Beeple. And I was like, so
Wow.
these people are just holding 190 ETH. Actually, I didn't mention this one, which is actually a cool one, and I've never seen this concept. So I'll show it the shirt, which I got. It's called the Quarter Machine. Yes, Quarter Machine. So
I'll hold it up.
Well, better than that. Actually, Google Instagram Quarter Machine.
Cord machine?
Quarter. Yeah. Quarter.
As in
like a
one
quarter, like a
quarter.
coin. Yeah. So there was this particular activity which I really wanted to participate in. I just thought it was a cool idea. What these guys have built, and I'll tell you the concept because we'll finish off with this, and it'll go into podcasting 2.0 as well, unless there's any other questions. So.
Not particularly. So
Okay. So go to their machine. I think they've got a little machine that you can see the.
if
you actually go.
this thing?
Yeah, that thing. So in essence, so this thing is what was operating over there at Veecon.
So it's a long box, roughly, I don't know, a meter tall and then 20 centimeters by 20.
Imagine it's like
width
a
and
quarter
base.
machine, like a normal thing that you might be getting. You'd be spinning the wheel when you put a coin, and you might get a couple of balls or
Yeah, or
food
some,
or something
some
like that.
gummy bears or a chewy.
But what they've created is so you will go there, you'll spin the dial, and it'll give you a QR code and a few other things. You'll then be able to transfer to them. So the game was you transfer 0.25 ETH, which is not a small amount, like it's not tiny. That's a couple of $100, and you will randomly win something, like an NFT of differing value. Now they had things that went all the way up to 25 ETH type of deal, so you could get really lucky. Or you could get the base level was basically their NFT, which is why I ended up winning. So I won their NFT. Now, it's not worth 0.25 ETH. So I was like, okay. But I was a bit bummed. I was like, they gave me a shirt, and I was like, okay, whatever. Then I looked a little bit more into it, talked to them. Now, this particular NFT, and you might like this because it goes to podcasting 2.0. The way that they work is they're actually on the back end or the side end, or I don't know where the hell it is. They partner with an animation studio.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So this particular NFT, which mine's called something like, it's not that one. It's something called Floor is Lava.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes. So they create these videos, this animation studio, specifically on YouTube.
Okay, yeah. Okay, this makes sense because I was going through our YouTube and I saw this and I unsubscribed from it because I was like, what the fuck
you were like, what is this? You're like, what is this?
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
This
now.
particular one, so what they do is they make these videos, which are kid videos. And I don't know if you saw how many views they had on these videos.
I didn't know.
About 2 million, 3 million, 4 million views. Like, what have you views?
So,
Kids, right?
For those who are wondering, if you've seen Coco Melon, it's a very similar style.
Yeah,
to
so like Coco Melon. And so what they do with this particular NFT is that all of the money that they make off the YouTube videos on ads then gets dispersed into the holders of this particular NFT. So they actually give back all of the earnings back to the NFTs. So I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. That's a little bit different. So I thought I'd share that because it reminded me a little bit of, the whole podcast and like the creators being able to distribute the money that's coming in from their advertising or income to the people who are essentially like their shareholders in the NFT community. And I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah. So tune in for 2 weeks' time because I think we'll go into a bit of a deep dive.
On a lot of
related
that sort of stuff.
to something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. All right, man. Sounds like you had a real fun time. Sounds like you had a. Did you get everything out of it that you wanted to get out of it? I suppose?
Yeah, I think I did. I think there was a lot of education that I got out of it. Here's another one as well. So QR code in your back, and we were like, oh, what does this QR code take you? There was obviously lots of QR codes all around Veecon, right? Yeah. All around Veecon. There was apparently, and I'll say apparently, so no one's really confirmed this, but there was a QR code in a piece of paper somewhere where someone lost all of the stuff in the wallet.
You're talking about Seth Green, right?
No, so this wasn't Seth Green. This was just someone else. So somebody else actually scanned the QR code, which was just planted there at Veecon, and lost their V friends and a few other things out of their wallet. And I went,
that's rough, yeah.
That's rough. But again, it went to me like when I was walking around with this thing, it made me think of, safety, security, and actually one of the big things that Gary did talk about. So everyone was clapping, the motivational stuff, like, we're gonna do well.
We're early.
All this stuff.
You're one of the 1%.
But then one of the big things he was like, let's focus on security, let's focus on education, and there wasn't as much of like as a horror and people being like excited about it. And he did make a point being like, no, like you motherfuckers, like actually get excited and educated about this shit, and I don't want to see people losing this stuff, which is a good point. It was a good point. So I think a major learning was definitely the education side of things. I think I probably don't do enough as a whole. People don't do enough. It's more like when's it's making more money, as opposed to like really thinking it through and security day one type of deal.
Yeah.
And just starting to see how many different trends and streams of, I don't know, normal everyday lives coming into NFTs. Because I couldn't say crypto in general because it was very NFT specific, but yeah, it was interesting to see. Definitely in the music space, and I think it's something we can talk about in a couple of weeks as well.
Sounds good to me. Cool. All right, everyone, thanks for joining in. Like Juan said, there's a value for value podcast. So if you got enjoyment out of this episode of hearing live from the on the ground, boots on the ground.
On the ground. By the way, I'm wrecked now. I'm like so wrecked now.
Dead.
Dude. Oh man.
Nice. Well, what you can start doing is sending in a Boostagram, which is a payment with a message attached to it of Satoshis. Go to one of the very cool newpodcastapps.com or nudepodcastapps.com and help start paying for Juan's next trip to
start paying for my CDs that I got.
Or your start paying for a vodka Red Bull. Start paying so that Juan can afford one vodka Red Bull when he goes to the US next.
Exactly. All right, Immortalites, appreciate it. Thank you very much for tuning in. That is all. Juan out.
Karen out. You. Sweet. All right, now we'll do this just at the end for anyone who's interested in Hosky World who's still here. So I have bought my Hoskies, and so let's do a little live.
Yep, let's see. Review.
I did actually just have a look then, and I could see that
come through.
I didn't get the bonus. No, didn't get the bonus one. So the stream is still going. So for those who are keen, wanna see my Hosky collection, it's getting pretty big now.
Getting large.
How many do I have? I've got 64 in this wallet, and I have more than one wallet. So we'll click on that, and then it's going to be all these ones down here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I can instantly tell you there's nothing really crazy there. They're all pretty standard ones.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing too crazy out of them.
Can you imagine one day when Hosky becomes like the number three token across the world, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then Hosky, and then these NFTs are like worth like $100, $200, $300 each. No, what am I saying? Like
that'd be like $5,000 each. Or
$5,000 each, $10,000 each, something like that.
And I'm just like, what? They're a stupid JPEG image, people. Come on.
Wow. Hey, this is how people felt about CryptoPunks.
Yeah, and Bored Apes and all of those things for sure. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Thank you for buying some live.
This one's cool. I got this one just not in this round, but I got it before. But it's a ghost one, a ghost with a halo. I think it's kind of cool.
That is pretty cool. I do like that.
Yeah. But yeah, like once you start collecting as many as I do, there's only like a few ones which you're like, oh, that's kind of unique. This one's kind of unique because it's similar to the OG one, like it's a 4 trader, so there's only 4 traits. I just like this one because it reminds me of the mask. Yeah, and then there's just like memorabilia ones. There was one right at the top, which was the first one, an error one I got, and I'm like, oh my god, look at this error one, and now it's just like, fuck, I have so many
of these things.
Good stuff.
Very good. Thank you to the people in the stream as well. For,
everyone, thanks for joining in.
By,
very cool.
Leaving comments.
Very cool, and we'll leave it there. Let's kick this off. Peace. Can't see it, Karen. Ah, shit, I wasn't showing it. Sorry, everyone. Wait, I'll do it quickly. I'll bring it back. Here we go. Here's my Hosky collection, people. This is the ghost one I was talking about a second ago. I saw Vegas Pool jumps back in just to talk about this stuff. Or what did he say? Hosky equals 0. PNG and GIF. No JPEG. Sorry. PNG and GIF.
PNG.
Good luck with the reveal. I watched the logs as it minted. Nice. Juan, keep him quiet. Show us. Bye, friends. See you, Liam. Thanks for joining in, mate. Much appreciated. Each Hosky is an individual work of art. I shouldn't be bad mouthing him and say there was nothing special. Each one is special in its own right. One.
That's true.
There is actually another one which I kind of liked, which was it was sort of it's in my other wallet. Let me bring that one up. It's in the Pride pool. Here we go. And it was sort of like an all gold blinged out one. So it had a gold frame, gold cool. background, gold glasses, Hosky chain, gold earring. That one's
cool.
pretty good.
That's cool. Cool.
All right, everyone, that's it. Thank you. Those Hoskies are beautiful. Thank you, Joey. You got it. Oh, and I got a Jess Art, so I should shout that one out. Jess Art is Vegas's daughter, whose name is Jess.
Oh, cool.
This is actually an artwork of hers that has made
very nice.
made it onto blockchain just like while she was doing actual NFTs. Well, a long time ago. But
If you want to hear about it.
but it's sort of like my version of the background also.
Yeah.
Got in. I was actually hoping to get one of mine, but they're pretty rare. Dang it. Oh well. Very good. I'll just have to buy more. That's epic.
You gotta go buy 100 more.
Yeah.
Right now.
Just to get that.
I could just do could you do 1,000 right now?
If I wanted to.
Yeah.
No. Max you can get is 10 at a time. So you'd have to just bulk spam 69
Yeah.
And they're coming out with new traits, like a new version in probably a month or a couple of weeks or something. So I'll save my
Save
ADA
it for them. Save it for them.
God, I'm a degenerate. All right, that's it. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you, folks.
Peace out, and we'll see you live again on next Sunday. So in 4 days time.
4 days time.
4 days time. Okay.
See you then, folks.